Welcome back, everybody, to another round of the good, the bad, the ugly on 0 Point Reviews. This time we're coming back to 2023. Yep, that's right. We're a little bit closer to the modern day era, and we're doing Never Hike Alone Part 2.
People forget.
Jason's out there.
Waiting.
Waiting.
Waiting for what?
To pull me down with him.
You went into his territory, you drew him out, and now people are dead.
Jason belongs in hell. I'm gonna see he gets there. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
You will suffer an eternity for this.
You bang!
You bang, Kevin, where the red dot goes. And we got another round of Never Hike Alone Part 2. Now, Kevin, did you check this out last year, or did you just watch this for the first time for this show?
I watched this at the premiere last year. I mean, not at their premiere, but when they
Right.
premiered it online. And golly, this was just like, this gave me goosebumps when I first saw it. This was cool.
Yeah, I saw it at the premiere too. I'm a proud Kickstarter Indiegogo backer. You know, I've been part of most of their campaigns, from the Ghost Cut to the first one to this one. So I've been totally on board when we were finally getting around to doing this. Never Hike in the Snow is a great kind of little balance in between. It's a great little 30-minute segment. And I'm sure we'll probably bring that up because that actually plays a role in this movie and in the first one as well. And watching this at the premiere with everybody else was just sweet satisfaction. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I think I was in the chat. Whenever I go on to watch this, I never see the live chat going. So it's like, maybe I was in the live chat, maybe I wasn't, but I enjoyed watching the shit out of this thing when it came out last year. And it's a hell of a fun time, and it totally brings the action and the body count for everybody to enjoy.
Yes, it really does. I know we said it was kind of bad that there wasn't a body count last week, but we totally make up for that this week.
Absolutely. Where your body count from like the last one is basically what, three people?
Yeah, 2 people.
Like the 2 EMTs and like one person who's been known missing. That's about it.
Yeah, I think so. And but they make up for it in spades in this one. By the time Jason starts making his way, well, not even to town, before he even gets to town, you know, he's killing people. So I mean, it picks up pretty much right away.
Yeah.
And they don't let you up. It's marvelously shot. Like we talked about how the first movie was beautifully shot, just in the woods, the locations, the sets, everything was just marvelous. But the cinematography to this movie is beyond perfect. Like you'll see things in this picture that you don't see in major motion pictures. Like there's a sequence at the beginning where Tommy is dreaming of Jason, and he jumps into the water. And as he jumps into the water, Tommy wakes up, leaping up out of his bed. So it's a straight shot going from standing up, diving, and then from diving to sitting up. And it was just this beautiful, seemingly one shot. It's 2. It's edited, of course, but
Yeah, the
it was
transition work was exceedingly good. It's like, did you hire a different editor, or did your current editor suddenly level up his skills to like pro grade?
oh, it was beautiful shit.
Yeah,
And just the stare downs between Jason and Tommy, they gave you goosebumps each time it happened. When
yeah.
they really first saw each other from the dream sequence, like everything just kind of it got to you. If you were that big fan of part 6, this really got to you.
Right. And it kind of feels like now we know Vincent's doing a Kickstarter right now to kind of do a final cut of this film. And you can kind of see where the first one and this one really go hand in hand together as one solid long film. But the way, this ended up developing and ended up being shot and produced and everything, you could see how it was separated by a couple of years, but like I can easily see how they can do a few strategic edits and slap it together and call it a one big massive Friday the 13th film. And the cinematography is still like next level. So, Kevin, that said, let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Never Hike Alone 2.
The good. You will
Dance
not
with me, baby.
You will not see a finer image of Jason Voorhees in any other picture than you will in this movie. Like they don't fuck around. Like they let you see Jason. They let you see Jason killing people. They let you see Jason killing people slowly. Nothing is edited. They don't have to worry about Paramount going, no, that's too much for our viewers. Vincent was very generous with the gore on here, like not too much, but certainly not too little either. And
Oh, hell no, yeah.
like it just shows how scary and brutal Jason can be. We mentioned it briefly last week. You don't see Jason's eyes in this mask at all. It's just
Period.
it's ghostly, and it's marvelous and beautiful and brilliant. It's so much more than what we've gotten previously in the Paramount pictures of looking at Jason. And that's not to discredit the Paramount pictures. It just look as cool as this.
Right. I mean, I appreciate the hawk. The mask is great. The outfit's fantastic. Vincent's doing a fantastic job playing as Jason. Now, I noticed in the credits they credited 2 people, but the work between Vincent and the other guy is top notch. I couldn't even tell you like when they were interchanging whatever roles they were doing, whether it was long shots or close shots or whatever. It was just so well done. I couldn't tell you like in the other ones, like in part 6, where they interchanged like the Jason, they fired the one guy almost immediately doing the spray gun scene with
The fat guy.
the paint bullets. Yeah. Where they were doing all of that. It's like you could tell that's a different Jason than the one we get mostly through the movie. In here it's like, damn, you sure Vincent didn't do this whole thing all by himself? Like that's a testament to both of them. So
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. I love the gore in this. It's on point. We didn't get too terribly much in the first one. They make up for it here in spades. And things that from the first one you feel like, no, that was pretty good. In this one, it's, we finally got to see the full front vision and full power of the talent of everybody working on this, from the actors to the editors to the writers to everybody and everybody behind the scenes. You did something fantastic, and absolutely be proud of this one.
Yeah. And now that we've shown this, I could show my real background.
Dun, dun, dun.
I love that image of Jason so much. Like it was artistic. It looked like a Dancing with the Stars background, like it should have been. It was artistic.
That was a great shot. The only way that shot could have been a little bit better if she suddenly just dropped to the ground after he carved her up like that.
Or if the bowels just kept falling out, like piece after piece after piece.
Right.
like a magician's scarf.
And that's not even a nitpick. That's just you could have added an exclamation point to this kill, but it didn't need it. But
No.
I totally would have done it. I would have been like, and when you hit that shot, wait a few seconds, then just drop to the ground, honey.
Let gravity take its course, then kaplow.
But great pose, iconic shot. Like I would totally do that on our thumbnail, but I knew it wouldn't get us kicked somewhere for being too graphic.
Yeah, the gut splattering in this scene where all of her intestines fall out. Like I knew if I took any of that for the good, bad, ugly, or final judgment, like we would get dinged. It's like, okay, no, we can't show that this time.
No. Oh man, great special effects with the severed head too. The cop that was outside in the parking lot. Sir, we have a problem out here. Get off the intercom. Somebody's vandalizing the cars. We'll deal with it. Next thing you know, shots are fired. And it's like, what the fuck is going on out there? And then the power goes out. Like, good detail work all around. And Jason finally in a hospital going completely crazy. Instead of in, part instead of which one was that? Part 4? Where he was in the hospital and he killed, yeah, it was part 4.
Yeah.
And he killed the 2 people immediately, and then he's like out of the hospital. This is like full course massacre at a hospital.
Yeah, he took his time, like especially in the parking lot, ripping all the batteries out of all the cars so no one could leave.
Like that's some good work right there.
Yeah, because he knew they weren't leaving anywhere. Like,
yep, nope.
And even if they did, what car were they going to leave in? So fuck them.
He's totally like setting up the trap and nailing everybody as well as he can. Like for Revenant style Jason, like the intelligence levels like through the roof for him.
Yes, and we're back to a Jason that is methodical but quick. Like he doesn't need a whole lot of time to think about how to kill people. He sees them and reacts, and it's awesome.
Yeah, as opposed to like part 6 where sometimes he's just kind of standing there being like,
how should I take this one down?
How do I kill this one? Or do I let him hit me first, make them think that they're getting somewhere, and then I'm just going to rip their head off? At least with this, like once he gets started, he don't stop.
Makes me think of Andre the Giant in The Princess Bride. I wanted you to think you were doing well.
Yep, that too. And I'm glad they improved a lot of the Foley effects. Like him stomping around sounded totally on point. So definitely sounded like a goddamn tank running through everybody.
I like that sound of him running through people. It's cool.
Yep, the thud, and then the axe being buried in skulls and the cleavers and the sides.
Those were really good because I mean they no pun intended really drove home the fact that axe is wedged into somebody's like collarbone here, and the only way to get it out is through massive pain and more blood loss and probably death. And it's gruesome. Like it's a horror film that you really just want to sit and watch again and again because it gives you the willies. This is the type of horror film that you were used to in the 80s. It has that feeling of Jason stalking people, but it also has that feeling of Jason being an unstoppable beast too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a great balance of just basically what you know Jason to be. Like it's almost definitive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he just carries himself so well.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Like I really like Vincent's Jason every bit as much as I like Kane or CJ. Like they're all he just knows what Jason would do.
Yes. He knows the presence, he knows the body style, he knows the motions, he knows the aggressiveness he needs to bring. And the lack of, you could say that like you can't really emote behind a mask, like especially like a ghost hawk like Jason's, but there is a certain emote that you carry through that face, like It could be a little head tilt. It could be a look down. It could be a snap up, or it could be after I did that little clip at the end of our trailer before we got in here, where Sheriff Rick shoots him, and he brings the head back down, and you know that look is like, oh fuck, he's dead.
Motherfucker.
Yep.
Uh,
I love that they brought, Sheriff Rick back. I mean, he's a sheriff now, but he wasn't a sheriff in part 6.
No, but the fact that Rick is the sheriff now
Is great.
Vincent Gustafaro is amazing. I love him as an actor and as a person.
Yes.
Like, he's just the shiznit. And the evolution of having Rick now being the sheriff is just it's perfect. It really is perfect. It writes itself. There's an Easter egg of seeing the old sheriff in Rick's case files. And he's still carrying this grudge for Tommy 35 years later for his boss and friend being dead, and assuming Tommy did it somehow. But can't,
or something else happened and they got rid of the killer, but they never found the killer, or whatever it was.
Yeah. And for as ignorant and annoying and dumb as Rick can be, God, he's a great, I don't want to say bad guy, but foil to the protagonist. He's not an antagonist, but he's definitely a pain in the ass.
He's a tweener. To use the wrestling terms. It's like he is trying to do his job and to be a good person, keeping control of a very bad situation. And, but he's also very quick to realize, oh shit, this is what's really going on. Because the second he sees Jason, it's like, oh, fuck. It's like in that moment, that sheer look of everything I've known for like the last how many goddamn years. And he even says so to Tommy, like, I should have believed you. And that's a great moment. That's a great callback to even back to part 6. And I love that through line where they reference things, and it's not nostalgia bait. It's not member berries. They're carrying an actual specific plot, and they're following through on it into the modern era. And so we get a modern day sequel that shows you can do this kind of style of sequel.
Sure. Like, okay, so what happened in the 80s is they took, say, Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th specifically. They took a plot and then changed the cast every movie. Like Jason comes back, kills these kids because they happen to be there.
The promiscuous Kevin.
Yeah, and really once they got to part 6, and Vincent was explaining this, like once you got to Tommy, you stopped with the final girl formula, and you had an overall hero that was going to be the foil to Jason throughout the series. And this continues that. And they stopped after 6. They kept it back to that formula of, okay, now we're going to have a final girl. Here's just a group of kids that need to get killed and a final girl. Group of kids that need to get killed, maybe some titties, and a final girl. And it was always basically the same plot. And I know there was only 3 movies or 4 movies after that, but still, it got boring again without Tommy's overall storyline, I think. Like,
once you removed him as a character from the franchise, it's like, oh, you actually had something here. And another Easter egg for keen-eyed viewers, you will find a part 5 mask in Tommy's dwelling.
Oh, there's one in Tommy's place too.
With the blue marks, yeah.
Well, that's probably the mask. Yeah, that probably is that mask.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if that was supposed to be we're going to reference part 5, but that's about as far as we go.
Tommy had to go through some shit.
I mean, this was the first time I caught that, and I've seen this movie a few times, so
yeah.
I was like, oh shit, that's a part 5 mask. That's dope.
Oh, sweet.
Good stuff. I mean, about the music too is really on part.
Yeah, for an independent flick, this had a soundtrack. Was not expecting that.
fucking loved it, dude. I don't really do vinyl or anything, but I totally do a vinyl of this.
Is there a vinyl for this one? That would be cool.
I don't know. I could probably check.
Vinny needs to make one bloody.
Well, I know Vincent's gonna probably watch this, and that's a thought for Never Hike Alone.
Oh, if he does, I'm really sorry about memeing this and not showing you last week.
Oh, you're fine.
I mean,
He'll just never talk to us ever again.
I hit it the entire show until afterwards because I was too scared to get my ass kicked by Jason Voorhees. So.
Oh, it looks like there was a few copies made available through an Indiegogo campaign.
Yep. And I bet you they were bloody too.
Mm-hmm. I don't see too many details. That was just a quick little Google search, everybody. So, but I don't get stayed up on all of the information on the Kickstarters. It's usually the next day, and it's like, oh shit, they're doing custom figures. I want to. Oh, they're all sold. Oh damn.
They're also. Fuck. Yeah, I know.
That's okay. But no, yeah, the soundtrack in this is fucking rad. Like between the score and the actual music beats, like it's so good. I like the mellow to the aggressiveness when Jason's on a rampage.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel too different from the original score to the original motion pictures. No. So like it feels at home in the Friday the 13th pantheon.
Could not agree more. I keep looking at this picture you got up and I'm like, damn. Just scanning like the background with the two dead people in the chair, the head on the ground, and poor nurse.
Yeah, and that's like him knowing that he's still got to go chase like 4 or 5 people running out the door with Rick still standing there at going like, gawking at him.
See, knowing he's Sheriff Rick and having watched The Walking Dead a little bit, I just go back to like Negan just going, hey, Rick. Like I keep hearing like Negan through Jason's mask just going, Rick. Like that cocky, pretentious voice. It's like, oh no, because he's gonna go after him next, and he does. So that's pretty fun.
I love where they switch over to, I want to say the kill cam, but
the body cam.
It's Rick's body cam, and it's showing Jason come at him. And then it swerves to Tommy really quick, calling him a fucking idiot and telling him to run.
You mean this clip?
Come on, you fucking idiot!
I was saving that for a better moment, but that was perfect. I really like that use of the body cam footage. That's a way to make something work like that in a pinch. I don't know if they were trying to save money or whatever, but like I like that creative idea right there, and it really worked. And they also went back to the GoPro again too, so they actually used that and hooked it up to a computer and went through the footage.
See, DiSanti did that shit in a cave.
Iron Man, baby,
made it better than Paramount, and he did it in the cave,
and for less money. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Tony Stark did that in a fucking cave. Anyway,
when I hear these fucking studios being like, oh, we need like 20 or 50 or $200 million for these fucking movies, it's like, yo, come the fuck on. You don't need that much fucking money. You need people who give a shit and some sort of a budget to at least make the gore look good, and tighten up things in post. Like, come on.
How many
we don't need fucking CGI for shit.
No, and we don't want it in horror for most part. But we talk about it all the time. How many millions of dollars went into each episode of The Acolyte, and they couldn't get a single fucking costume to look dirty?
Yep. And the CGI in that was terrible.
Like, this cost a fraction of that and looked so much better than it.
Godzilla minus one showed exactly how good a goddamn movie can look on a smart budget and doing things intelligently.
Yeah. Yeah. Using motion picture sciences.
Hell, think of the kind of budget that Godzilla minus one had, about 12 to 15 million dollars. Imagine that on a fucking Friday the 13th movie. You'd be swimming in gallons of blood, like Sam Raimi Evil Dead parts 1 and 2 level here.
Just skeet blood everywhere. Skeet, 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 skeet.
Yep. Everywhere. Arterial spray. They hit a carotid artery. Oh no.
He hit a lot of carotid arteries. Whack, whack, whack. Anyway, like, golly, could you imagine a Jason movie being made today where like they had carte blanche on the amount of gore that they could put in there, or the
Right.
dismemberments? Like,
Oh,
it would be
October to
amazing.
Dismember.
Yeah.
Well, and also, that being said, when they were doing Never Hike in the Snow, that finally gave the concept of Jason in the winter and how he would look, splattering blood everywhere in the middle of a snowy field.
Yeah, that movie was pretty. It was really pretty.
It was so good. Comments about that were, I would have liked that to have been its own little movie.
Well, it kind of was.
On, I wanted like 25 more minutes.
It was
just a personal request because that was a good one-on-one confrontation with Jason there too. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Didn't end as well as Kyle's did, but whatever.
Right. But then at least you get the tie-in to this movie where, you know, the doctor is his mother. So the person who got nicked in Never Hike in the Snow is the doctor in this one. The mom who is utterly distressed and just all up in a hizzy about what's happened to her boy who's gone missing. And you end up finding out like Sheriff Rick and everybody they kind of knew it was Jason, or kind of knew something bad was going on, but they never wanted to tell her.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
Yeah, that was fucked. Well, it was part of an ongoing investigation. You could have fucking told her that, you know, you were pretty sure the son was dead. You didn't have to fucking tell her it was like a murder investigation.
Yeah, and like Tommy was wanting to say something,
right?
But obviously couldn't. Everyone thinks Tommy's crazy to begin with.
Yeah, and that was his very valid reason, because everybody thinks he's nuts.
Yeah, or that he's going to end up being a suspect again somehow by Rick being an asshole.
Right, and no evidence, no proof. Like, how do you say, oh yeah, it's a ghost from my past from 30 years who's on a killing rampage again?
Yeah, for some reason, and because Kyle touched the head.
God damn it, Kyle.
Ow.
We're going to send you back to South Park.
But you know what? I liked that though. I didn't think that was silly or dumb. I thought that was rational enough. Tommy explains, you got his attention. You marked yourself for him. And now he's not going to stop until he gets you, and that head is safe again. So you're like, oh, wow, okay, well, that brings the relevance of part 2 back into play. So that's cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah, and I appreciate that they used that kind of an approach to, it's got to do a lot with the mother's head. And I also like the head being in a picnic basket. That was a good little detail. It's like, oh no, the head got moved. Where the fuck is it? Well, at least it was just in a picnic basket.
Picnic. I had issues once it got dropped in the lake. Like, it was okay when it was dry and crusty and brittle, but then you drop that in the water and it's going to start to like get nastier, slimier, get water retained in there. So when you pull it up, it's like slowly draining out the neck and the mouth and the eyes and the ears and everything else. It's like,
Jason's not much for taxidermy, Kevin.
No, he wasn't. He doesn't have like dexterous fingers.
No. If anything, he's more of a...
Unless you know, you're too much of a chicken shit.
Too much of a chicken shit.
You know.
And for everybody watching, we do not share our segments. Kevin does the graphics and the thumbs here, and I do the video clips. So, and we don't share.
And we don't actually have a bad or ugly any critiques for this picture, because this is even better than last week's picture. And last week's movie was great because it was all cerebral horror. It was all a ghost story that Kyle was narrating to you until the end.
Yes.
And then now this picks up where the end left off and then goes from there. Like you're seeing another Friday the 13th picture, a sequel to the last really good Friday the 13th picture. So there was
I'm looking at this picture, and he's got a wedding ring on. If
Tommy,
if there was a comment for Tommy about his old flame from part 6, he could have said, she passed away, and I'm married in spirit to her. Cannot move on without her. That could have been okay.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think about it like now.
Well, I mean, that still could be a thing when the final cut comes out.
Yeah, I mean, that's not like any sort of a bad thing. It's just all of a sudden I noticed that ring, and I hadn't noticed that before. I'm like, oh, you could look at something like that in a specific way without addressing it too bad.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, my big comment on anything bad is always going to be like, oh, hey, this could have been a little bit longer than an hour and 15 minutes. This could have been like an hour and 30, and I would have been perfectly happy with that.
Yes. Maybe one more subplot in there would have been okay, because this is pretty perfectly paced. You're not bored with it.
The pacing is even better than the first one, and I thought the first one was well done.
If anything, maybe putting in Never Hike Alone in the Snow as flashbacks, so you understand Dr. Hill's subplot a little bit better. Maybe that being included for the time. Yeah. I don't know, but otherwise, this was great.
Oh yeah,
it was exciting, and it kept you engaged. You weren't needing a pee break at all.
No, yeah, not at all.
And I don't mean like you need to go pee, like you need to get up out of boredom to go pee.
No, yeah, that's true. And when we get our final version of this, I think we'll finally have a good feel for one whole long movie, and it'll have a ebb and flow that is very well on par and on point with a full-length movie. So yeah, I think ultimately that's where we're heading, and that's what'll end up bringing everything together in a nice, smooth, one film. So yeah, I don't have actually too much bad really about this. I mean, we were talking before we started recording about, so we might have a thing or two talking about the bad, but nothing like super major. But we really don't have anything about the ugly.
No. And I used this picture just so we had something. And the only thing I can come up with saying that something that's ugly is, golly, I really liked this cast. And that's not an ugly thing. That's not a bad thing. The only thing worth noting about that is this is the first time since like part 2 that you really gave a shit whether or not the cast survived. Like, oh gosh, I liked them. That's too bad. Yeah, that was a lot of the cast in this movie. We were
on some of these characters. It was like, hey, they're fine. This works. We don't need too much. We just need just enough to actually care about somebody.
Right. And like the deputies had great chemistry with Rick. Like they were all written really well. They all acted together really well. They all had great chemistry together individually. But like these guys here talking about whether or not Jarvis is going to take a shit on Rick's hood while he's off looking around for Jason. Fucking funny as hell. And it was believable as hell too.
Yeah, it's like, wait, has he actually done that before? The way they did this bet is like, oh, maybe this has happened before. Where Tommy's constantly annoying the shit out of Rick.
Yeah, like he's gonna shit on his car again.
God, that's funny. Now, as far as like me with ugly, the only thing I can really kind of come up with is I think it's ugly that these Vincent and his whole crew have not had a chance to get hired on permanently and to do a real Jason movie. And
Oh,
I'm not
God.
saying this is not a real Jason movie, but I mean like full force theatrical, Paramount funded. Let's
Canon.
fucking go. Yeah, like let's put this shit into canon. Let's get off the fan film and get these guys they clearly have the cred for it. And they got the love for it, they got the passion for it. Let's just fucking do it. What's the worst that could happen? Give them like 5 to 10 million and say, "Hey, make a fucking movie." Evidence right here, they can fucking do it.
Movies like Friday the 13th require directors that don't like control over their own picture.
Yep.
So I don't know that Vince would be great for Paramount.
He'd be great for us.
Yeah. For fans, he's fantastic. For
Yeah.
an artist, he's fantastic. He knows what this should be, and he made it. And he can do that. He could do it several times. He's shown like 3 movies in a row that are all really good. Like not any one is better than the other. They're all like really damn good movies. Paramount, they're not looking for something that can get made cheap necessarily or just cheap.
No, they want to spend $150 fucking million on something.
Well, I mean, then it's going to be a tax write-off, but I don't know. They've never been one to make a movie for the horror fan. So I don't know how they would do making a new Friday the 13th picture with someone as good as Vincent. Would they let him be an artist? Would they let him show the picture that he knows he could make? Like, God, I would hope so, because it's a fucking dope ass flick.
Hell, at this rate, just let him do a mini TV. Give him the goddamn TV show.
Give him the TV show, make an anthology, and give him a few episodes, whatever. Like, let him scare the shit out of people. Let him show people the Jason that he knows that they want to see.
All right. And we're not just saying that just because we like these movies. We say that because we really believe this. We're not just blowing smoke up your ass, Vincent. I truly believe in his talents and, his whole crew. Like, clearly they've done a fantastic job. It's not to say any of the other Friday the 13th fan films haven't had great moments and great cinematography or great kills or anything like that. There's a lot of talent out there working on all of these fan films. Are some of them awesome? Hell yeah. Some of them not so awesome? Yeah, unfortunately. But, this is one of those that's just, it's so beautiful. It's so well done. You feel the passion in every single second of this. And it feels like nothing is wasted. And I love that about these.
Yeah. I don't know when Paramount's going to get a chance to put another feature out, but I hope they do see this and be like, hey, this is something special.
Yeah, I mean, I'd totally like to see what they're doing with. I mean, they got rid of Brian Fuller's scripts and everything for the Crystal Lake TV show. Getting rid of him was a bad move, but I guess we'll end up finding out what we're doing after the show comes out, because they're doing the show first, then they might do a movie. I guess time will only tell.
They waste so much time with these pictures. They really do. Like, it wasn't good when they had them coming out once a year. Like, within that year, they were coming out always on the SAW schedule, I call it.
Yeah, the grind is what I call that. Like, where you're just constantly churning out. It's like cookie cutter. Let's stick with the formula and keep it rolling. It's like, I can see the benefits to that, but you also lose a lot of creativity in the process, and you lose a bit of your storytelling at the same time.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and people see right through that. I mean, you can still give them a lot of what the audience is looking for, but you end up missing more than you should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and before we get into final judgment, speaking of paying bills around here, we have a little sponsorship. Probably not sponsored.
Seems like a piece of shit to me.
Piece of shit.
I'm glad
When
you
you
put
need
that
a
in there.
multi-purpose shovel, do not buy the POS 2000 because it's a piece of shit.
A piece of shit. Thing looks like a piece of shit to me.
I love that callback to the first one where they're both, where Tommy and Kyle both think it's a piece of shit shovel.
That had me clapping and hollering in my couch. I was like, "Yes, it's a piece of shit."
It's so fucking funny. I love that one. I love that moment, especially when it clonks up Jason's head and he just totally no sells the thing.
Yeah, like the fuck was that?
It did.
I'm gonna have to kill you twice now.
Totally dead. Final judgment time, Kevin.
I had to go with the picture of Rick's head getting imploded.
Hey, we had to bury the axe somehow.
Yeah. Again, you're sorry to see Rick go because he finally had a God, what's the not refining moment? He was able to I am completely losing my train of thought. Redeem. He had a redeemable moment. Thank you.
Get a redemption arc, Kevin.
Yes. Where he apologizes to Tommy. He sacrifices himself to save everybody else or to buy them a little bit of extra time.
Yep.
And he gets fucked up really bad.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was old fashioned and it was beautiful. Just destroying this like latex head that was supposed to look like Vincent Gestaparo.
Oh my god. Looked like Vincent had too much fun burying that axe there.
Yeah, both of them really were like, I don't know.
Hey, let's fucking do it.
That would have been a cool blooper scene to watch.
Yeah, to see how they were handling that. Looks like you could be standing off to the side just going like, I think you're enjoying this a little too much, Mr. DiSanti.
So, but my final judgment for this comes in this. Go to the Kickstarter that they're doing right now and look at that $150 package that they have that has all three of the original Blu-rays plus the new Blu-ray that's coming out that's going to have the final cut.
Yep.
That's what I want, and that's my final judgment because I have loved all three of these movies individually, but I would love to see that final cut of all three of them enhanced into one. I know not everything's going to make it into the final cut, and that's why I say get all three of them because there's so much to enjoy in each of these movies, but this one's just damn special. It really is.
Yeah, this is the coup de grace of the whole franchise so far for Never Hike Alone. Everything comes together, everything pays off. You're not losing plots, you're not ignoring anything. As a matter of fact, you're continually adding to it without making it so convoluted. You're like, what the fuck am I watching here? And I'm not going to mention the fan film that I've seen that in of Friday the 13th, where it's like, what the fuck are we doing with this plot? And it's already over 2 hours long already. Like, quit introducing shit even in the last like 20 minutes, and you still got 20 more minutes left to go. So, yeah, I'm not going to shit on anybody on here. We're here to talk about this movie and this franchise. And my final judgment is this is so well put together. I recommend going to the Kickstarter as well. Yes, you can watch these for free on YouTube, and absolutely check them out that way. But if you want to add this to your collection, if the world ends at some point, or the electricity dies, the internet goes down, you still have a Blu-ray you can pull off the shelf. I know I just said if when the electricity goes down, well, that means nothing works anyway, but when your internet goes down is what I'm more talking about there. When that goes down, you got your physical media here, and that money goes towards completing this final cut for Never Hike Alone. And they got some great perks on there. They got some shirts. They got some things you can add on to it to show your support. A lot of the money is just going to finish the production of this. And, It's a great cause. It's a great support, and I could not recommend this anymore. I love this sequel. I love Never Hike Alone. I think it's fantastic. Does it have its issues? Sure. But this one is nearly perfect for a Friday the 13th sequel and in its own franchise of Never Hike Alone. I love Kyle and I love, Tommy being the duo that goes after Jason this time, and it takes both of them to take him out. And I totally appreciate that. And I enjoyed the shit out of this. So my final judgment is easily 2 thumbs up.
Yes. Yeah. This got a 6.8, which is higher than the vast majority of the Friday pictures themselves.
I can see 6.8. I think it should be higher, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I go about 9.
It's that lack of titty.
Lack of 50 and 15 more minutes.
Yeah, well.
15 more minutes of titty.
But
Hey, that's how you add this, and find more of those Playboy stash magazines from the first movie.
But what shall we do after the first 14 minutes and 30 seconds?
Come on, you fucking idiot!
Just run for it. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Please do head over to the Kickstarter for Never Hike Alone, the final cut. We do have a link in our description down below, but you can also do a quick Google search, and that's one of the very top things you can find. Or if you're already on Kickstarter, usually you kind of know what to do. You know how to search for that. Never Hike Alone, the final cut, and see what you can do. If not, hey, at least go check these out. Join the rest of us who have seen these and not feel like you've missed out. So don't miss out. Go watch this. And thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button down below. Comment. You got any favorite memories? Got any thoughts about this? Kind of curious what they're going to do next. Hey, put a comment down below. We do check our comments, even though we've been told not to, but that's okay too. So please subscribe, hit the little bell notification on the way out, and we will see you next time.